let's get right into this review for The Accountant 2. Alright, so The Accountant 2 is directed by Gavin O'Connor, who also worked on the original film back in 2016. The story stars Ben Affleck as Christian Wolff, a forensic accountant solving another deadly case, only this time around he has a lot more help from his growing network of connections and from his recently reconnected brother established from the first film. Now, did you have to watch the original before checking the sequel out? No, you did not. This can definitely still work as a standalone story, as you'll be able to piece the puzzles together rather quickly in terms of all the relationships, the characters, and the lore tacked onto this world. Now, to get right into it, what did I think about the story for this sequel? I thought this was a pretty solid time. My favorite part of the film definitely had to do with the brotherly relationship portrayed by Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. They both absolutely crushed their roles here. They had awesome chemistry and some nice dialogues within many of the provided segments to make me emotionally invested into these characters. I love seeing them on screen together, and there's plenty of enjoyable sequences that showcase their dynamic nicely. In terms of the strength for each act in the story, I will say the ever-looming drama definitely felt the strongest during the initial setup phases. By the latter half of the film during acts 2 and 3, the drama did tend to fall more towards the generic side of typical action thrillers. That being a serviceable story direction, which does manage to stay afloat for the most part until its conclusion. Things do get a bit predictable, and not all the story elements land quite as effectively by the end compared to the cinematic package present in Act 1. One of the main problems I had with this film is the lack of a memorable antagonist. There's a lot of generic thugs and criminals present, and none of them ever really stood out. They do fulfill their roles in the story to stir up the drama, but there's no build-up or additional elements to make them even more enticing as the bad guys, or any one of them as an individual character. Also, if you were looking for a lot of action and thriller moments paced throughout the film, I'm here to report you'll end up feeling disappointed. Rather, this film more so focuses on the journey that the two brothers go on together while working on the case, more so than the case itself. And just to go over a few more positives, I thought the visuals paired well with the narrative, there were some fun action sequences that put a smile on my face, and I thought the dialogue was above average in many instances to bring depth and life to the characters involved, especially with Christian Wolff. My final score for The Accountant 2 is 8 out of 10. This was a solid time. I definitely had a smile, a chuckle, a wince, and a generally satisfactory time throughout this 2-hour and 5-minute runtime. I think if you enjoyed the first film or were excited by the trailers leading up to this film, this can definitely be worth your time at the theaters. Thank you for checking this review out. Hit that like button and subscribe. Lots more exciting films to review in the near future, so stay tuned for that, and I shall see you on my next upload. But until then, peace.